What is up, team? It's a week after Ride London. It's actually been 5 days, so I'm up and about. I'm actually at my university, helping with the careers day today. I didn't think I'd be moving back so quickly after the race, but I seem to be doing okay. So I thought I'd share with you kind of how the first weeks have been after Ride London and kind of my thoughts after the race. So pretty much after the race on Sunday, I had some chocolate milk. I love chocolate milk. It's a great source of protein and it tastes great. And I had a lot of fatty food, something I've kind of restricted myself from the past few months. So it's been really nice to enjoy other food types again that aren't only pasta. And pretty much the next day, I felt the soreness in my neck, which kind of was expected. But after that, I felt relatively okay. My knees are sore, and I can just feel the fatigue across my body. It's quite weird to express. My body's tired and there's fatigue. I can still do a lot, but there's this level of tiredness that it's quite hard to quantify. And I think just kind of severe rest and rehydration and nutrition will actually help recover me to where I was kind of pre-race in terms of just like more agility and movement. Reflecting on the race, and I'm sure you'll see the footage anyway, it is hard. It's, I think, harder than the marathon, and that's not to take anything away from the marathon. The marathon was a huge mental test, physical test, and I felt a lot of impact pain through my legs, and that's what the real challenge was. It's being able to push through the impact and the pain your knees and feet are feeling. But Ride London was a different level, I think, not purely from the impact pain, but just the vibration pain across your whole body, the kind of physical pain on your back and legs being in the same position and kind of pedaling all the time, on your arms because you're leaning over your arms the whole time, and you have to do a lot of control in terms of braking and steering. That puts a lot of pressure on your upper body, so it's actually a very full body workout, and the distance really pushed me. In cycling, there's a term called the bonk, which is equivalent to the wall. It's basically, from what I've interpreted as, you don't have the energy really in your legs to kind of keep pedaling, and that's kind of equivalent term. For me, I hit the bonk several times. At the halfway point, I thought we were downhill in terms of just terrain-wise, but actually had several more climbs. I felt really dehydrated. I really wanted to go through the races with minimal stops as possible, but I had to stop because we were in direct sunlight and it was super hot, and I needed to hydrate. There was no other option that I could think of that would get me through the race safely. I hit that several times, and it's quite a weird feeling to describe because you're pushing. My quads just kept going. There was like pistons. It just didn't miss a beat, but you just felt kind of a bit senseless because there was just no sensation in your body apart from the pain, and you kind of questioning the journey quite a lot. The physical fitness, I knew was there, my cardio was there, but it was just the nutrition, which I didn't do too good job of during the race, as well as just the physical pain of it. For nutrition wise, I had several packs of jelly beans and I had some breakfast bars, but I needed something salty, I think, to help with the process, just in terms of reducing cramp chances and just some different flavour. And I wish I'd taken more Lucozade, but there's only a limit how much space you can carry in your bottle, not from the regulators, but just how much space you have on your bike. Yeah, so it was really tough. I have to confess that at Limehouse Tunnel, I walked a bit. I can't describe what it's like, but I had my sunglasses on, and in the tunnel, you get tunnel vision. Basically everything goes dark and you can really see the strip of light where the center light is, and I had very little water and I was feeling nauseous. And I was doing a climb, and I really had thought I'd hit 100 miles because the race is 103 miles. I already thought I was past that kind of finish line point, and I just was really struggling to move. My back was hurting so much. So I walked for a bit, which I confess, but I was like, I can't stop moving. It won't be good. It won't be good for me, especially stopping on a slight incline. But I have to walk through this. And then I got to the hill at the end of the tunnel, and then cycled the remaining distance to Tower Bridge. And there's so much frustration and so much challenge. It's quite hard to quantify. So I think for me that was mentally most draining. And compared to running, you're always being pushed in cycling because the fact that you have to consider the other cyclists, other riders, and your terrain, which I don't have to consider as much in the marathon, because it very well, if you hit another cyclist, it could hurt you, could hurt them, you could damage your bike, you could get a puncture. There's so many more consequences that you have to think about, which wasn't really the case in the marathon. And the marathon, you also had like readily available water stops, which are more accessible, so you're a bit more support network immediately around you, and you had so many more fans, because a lot of the route was done in silence and my headphones were not on because I wanted to save my phone battery for the end of the race to contact my friends and family. So pretty much the whole race was done with that music, which I know people would find a bit strange or weird, but it's something I had to deal with and cope with, and it was really hard to keep mentally awake and aware. So overall, this event pushed me to my limit. I remember 18 miles just thinking, I've got 23 miles to go, which is pretty much a full marathon. I've done that distance before. How kind of crazy is it? I still feel so far away, and I've done 80% of the race. It's really kind of scary, these questions, and really humbling. So yeah, overall my thoughts on the event were, it was difficult. I feel very privileged to have gone through it very safely, and I learned a lot about myself. Improved as a cyclist massively, which I don't think I can quantify how improved I became throughout that race. And I just kind of realized how much resilience I have in these events, because this pushed me to another level. I seriously was considering not doing season 3, but by a huge demand I might have to do season 3, and I think I need a few months before I can consider what that's going to be for me, but it's in the works. Yeah, the other points I have to say, I've seen some things after the race on Facebook and the Ride London groups, and it's quite tragic. A lot of people had their bike stolen. I saw someone's bike being stolen. Unfortunately, the thief was stopped but not reprimanded, which is really sad to see, because these people have done such an amazingly hard event, and to be treated so poorly was really sad. Seeing some people trying to sell products like water and trying to capitalize on that just felt a bit disappointing for me, because I didn't realize how hard it was to be on the bike. I know it's our choice, but still, it's a very dangerous scenario to be that low in water and not and kind of had to struggle to find access to it. So that really upset me. I've heard some local residents threw pins, like tacks, on the road to stop the event happening, and still riders got punctures, and this is quite sad to see, because what if someone got hurt? And the fact that people want to stop an amazing event, which yeah, was just really disappointing, especially the way they've gone about it, because it's attacking the people who are competing, not those who organised the event. And I'm not saying I want to attack anyone, but you're putting people's lives at risk when they're travelling 30-40 miles an hour. There's some people who were seriously injured in the race, which I did see. I saw someone, like, well, not them being injured, but the kind of rectification process. Someone was on the side of the road stretching, some people were bleeding, some people having IVs put in. I spoke to someone who's done a triathlon and said this was a really hard event. And he's actually done an Ironman, and it put me in perspective like how difficult these challenges I'm doing are. There was a sign of 49 miles, the name Valentin, who was a rider who did Ride London last year and passed away, and this year his sister did the event under the same number and bike, I believe. which is really emotional and really tragic that happened to him. So, not to sound like a downer on this event, but like putting these factors into sway just reminded me that sometimes selectors are treated again as the lowest priority, even on an event where we are the focus. And cycling safety needs to improve because it's a really green, efficient and healthy way to commute and explore the areas around us, and it shouldn't be choked, and no one's life should be at risk because of this sort of event. So those are my thoughts on that side. But I'd say overall this event pushed me to my limit. I don't can fully comprehend or verbally express to you how hard it was and how I felt. I still am kind of processing it, but I think I've left the process a very different version of myself. Good or bad, that's up to your choice. But I think this level of resilience and confidence that made me evolve through the process, and I don't think I've done without your support in the last 12 weeks plus, and from the previous season, but also from the time spent on my bike, because doing this training solo and racing solo was hard, and the isolated groups that were being able to support the event in the more countryside areas really did make a difference in the cheers, because it was very isolated the race and they really helped push the miles. And I can also say I've done a Tour de France segment, which I think is pretty awesome. So I think it's awesome. I've also got the chance to do some of the cycle route on the marathon route as well, which is great. It felt doubly special to me, and whatever season 3 holds, I'm excited for that, what that can be and how we'll grow in that process together. So thank you as always for watching and following me, and please just subscribe and give me suggestions for the next season. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you enjoy the content of the season. I'm definitely going to take some rest and figure out what I need to do next, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.